From our Vancouver Island newsroom, this is CHEK News. Here's Julie Nolan.
Good evening. Does Lyme disease exist in BC? That's the question. More people coming forward tonight with Lyme disease who got negative test results in this province, but then they tested positive south of the border. Despite these stories, as CHEK News reporter Dana Hutchings explains, the provincial medical health officer still denies there's a problem.
Oh, pretty girl.
As a young mother, Jen Feschuk gets tired easily. But it's a tick bite she got 10 years ago camping in Ontario that's left her constantly exhausted.
Started getting vertigo, very bad headaches, just chronic fatigue, always feeling, very ill.
Doctors told Feschuk she had multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, Crohn's disease, and even psychotic rage disorder.
I do know that, I have Lyme disease and it came back negative for me here, so...
She's talking about the BC Centre for Disease Control test, but her blood was also tested at a lab in Northern California and came back positive for Lyme disease. Still, infectious disease specialists had doubts.
He actually didn't think it was Lyme disease at first, put me in the hospital, and I had a lumbar puncture, and that came back positive for neurological Lyme disease.
New Scaliano and Mitchosin, showing all positive pieces.
It was Dr. Ernie Murakami that diagnosed Feschuk, along with 800 other people in BC with Lyme disease.
It's far more frequent than we're led to believe.
And Murakami, who is now retired, says testing down here is just not adequate.
Our tests are being the only source of diagnosis, and therefore are missing it, and they're being passed off with other diagnoses. You name it. Every organ in the body has been diagnosed, but the diagnosis of Lyme is erroneously being missed.
There's an art and a science to medicine. We're focusing on the science. We're using internationally accepted criteria.
BC's chief medical health officer disputes Murakami's claims.
This doesn't mean to say that people aren't suffering. I believe they are. But on the evidence, from a number of sources, I would have to say that I don't believe that we have an epidemic of undiagnosed, untreated Lyme disease in this province.
But for Jen Feschuk, she knows her experience is not unique.
Every other person with Lyme disease I've talked to has had a negative test in BC. I have never met someone that has had a positive test here.
She hopes that speaking out will lead to changes so that others won't have to go through the suffering that she did.